What's up, Savvy Expats? My name is Julio, and today I'm going to give you 5 tips for living in the Philippines as an expat. So let's get into it. For my first tip for you, Savvy Expats, is that to be aware or make yourself known that dating works here differently. Dating in the Philippines is very different than the West. People here are more traditional when it comes into relationships. Like, they have more morals than those in the US. It's actually based as simple as this: they date to marry. Now, I know that for some of you savvy expats that this is unconventional, especially when you're coming from a country like the US. But we must realize that the Philippines, by the end of the day, it's an Asian country. With this comes a lot of morals and values. Let me give you an example of this. When you're going to date a Filipina, you have to court her, talk to her family first, and make sure you're of value. And contrary to what most expats believe, the women here do have standards. Just because you have a few dollars and a blue passport doesn't mean that she'll immediately fall for you. A solid proxy I use to gauge whether or not she's a good quality woman is just because of my looks and me being a foreigner. The woman here with standards and substance will not fall for you just because you're from another country. Hence why many will have to go through the courting process. Meeting her dad first, taking her out to places, and getting to know her as a person. That is, if you find one in the traditional side, like in the provinces or in the church. If you want an easy girl to get one, on the other hand, you can go easily to a bar like in any other country in the world. But there's no guarantee that she'll be a partner of value and quality. As they say, the hardest things in the world to find are the most valuable. It's like digging up for gold. As it says in the Word of God in Proverbs 31, an excellent wife who can find? She is far more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband trusting her, and he will have no lack of gain. So I encourage you, if you're coming here purely for quick love, you won't be satisfied. I'm sure you've heard countless of stories of expats coming here to the Philippines for love and getting burned not only for their money, but also their citizenship. On another note, be aware that there are a lot of language barriers on some of the Filipinas you may find here. So as a bonus tip, make sure to study some Filipino, like just simple phrases. It will make your time much easier. Not to mention, being able to share a laugh with your partner because you actually understand the humor will take your relationship to another level. Now, for my second tip for you savvy expats is to find a reliable contact. Finding and making friends with a local contact is one of the first steps you should make when coming to the Philippines. It's something that will help you in your day-to-day life of the process settling down in the Philippines. This benefits you in things like finding the proper grocery stores, great hangout spots, understanding the culture, things to watch out for, avoid scamming, helping you evade foreigner tax, learn the Filipino languages, commuting, and many others. You can also try making connections with other expats like Evan and I, who has the knowledge and experience here. Now, I don't want to say that you should only trust only on locals and expats. You should try doing your own research online about the best places to abide in. There are plenty of guides and websites about cities and commercial centers in the Philippines. And if you're an expat moving to Bonifacio Global City, we have a completely free guide for you down below. Feel free to claim your free video and PDF in the description box. And speaking of getting connected to a reliable contact, mine and Evan's phone numbers are inside the guide so that you can contact us 24/7. Going back to the topic, reliable contact doesn't have to be a random Filipino or random expat. It could be a mutual friend who lives or used to live here for a while. There are many ways to build and have connections here, so feel free to choose in between. Now, my third tip for you savvy expats is to do your own research about the cost of living here in the Philippines. Moving to another country certainly isn't easy, especially without knowing the cost it might take to settle here in the Philippines. So it's better to do your research about the Philippines. We need to realize that prices in the Philippines can be different in each region you go to, from the provinces to the cities. So let me give you an example about the difference. In a metropolitan center, prices can be quite high since the majority of the imports arrive there. Things like a cup of coffee from areas like BGC may cost you around 200 pesos. But in the provinces and low population areas, a cup of coffee from a local coffee shop may cost you around 70 pesos. So you can see how big of a difference it may be. To rent a condo in BGC, it may cost you around 60,000 pesos to 100,000 pesos. In dollars, it may cost you roughly around $1,200 to $2,000. To rent a house in Cavite, on the other hand, it may cost you around 40,000 pesos to 60,000 pesos. So that's roughly around $800 to $1,200 to rent. The cost of living in the Philippines can be pricey, but it's certainly much more affordable than the West. Groceries in the Philippines is certainly much cheaper than the West, costing you only around $400 or 20,000 pesos per month. In the US, it may cost you around $500 to $1,000. Alright, savvy expats, you may have heard online or from other people that the Philippines is a very cheap country, that everything is affordable, but I want to let you know that no, it's not. I've been living in the Philippines for 2 years now, and I can say that from my experience, most places, especially in Manila, are more expensive than expats think. Many expats think that they can live on just $1,000 per month, but don't be fooled. It's not true. This common mistake can lead to what we'd like to call the dollar mentality. Essentially, it's a way of thinking that because you have a superior exchange rate, you can spend frivolously on anything here in the Philippines. Many expats think that, oh, it's only 1,000 pesos, that's just $20. But be aware that with this mentality, expenses can add up as you lose track of your own expenses. Get to know the prices that the locals pay for instead of misconceiving that everything is cheap. Anyways, for my fourth tip for you savvy expats is to be open-minded. Being open-minded is one of the most important things when it comes into living in the Philippines. It can save you from a lot of things. Here are some examples of being open-minded. Things are done at a slower pace here. When it comes into doing online transactions, buying groceries, and getting around in your car within the Philippines, making online purchases is infernal. Why? Because either the Wi-Fi or your data is slow here in the Philippines, the websites in the Philippines doesn't work, or well, because you have insufficient funds. Just kidding. But yeah, here in the Philippines, when you're making an order online, it can take even up to a month for it to arrive. Of course, this is because the Philippines is an archipelago very far away from other countries, but unlike the US, it may take you around 3 days, give or take. The supermarkets within the Philippines, well, oh my goodness, when you're in long lines, man, please be patient. Sometimes I feel that the cashiers in the supermarkets purposely go slower. Like, I don't mean to be rude or anything, but it's just horrible. And traffic? Don't even get me started on that. Sometimes traffic in the Philippines can be so bad that it can take you even up to 1 hour just getting from BGC to Pasig. You have to be patient when it comes to punctuality in the Philippines. Why? Because of this very popular thing here in the Philippines, which is called Filipino timing. Filipino timing is one of the hardest things I had to accept as an expat. Its direct definition is just being late, bro. So if a Filipino contact makes an appointment with you at 1 p.m., they'll arrive around 1:30 to even 2 p.m. Another thing about being open-minded is that the Philippines, at the end of the day, is a third world country. And I know some of you may get offended by this, but well, things like blackouts, slow internet connection, extreme traffic, people begging, garbage in the streets, it's very common here in the Philippines. And for last is that since we're expats, most of the time local Filipinos are going to stare at you with any discretion. So like, be prepared for that. Okay, for my fifth and last tip for you savvy expats is to be honest and humble in your finances here in the Philippines. First of all, I want to let you know, savvy expats, is that Filipinos are, like most of them, are low income. So not all of them obviously are not in first class. I'm saying this out of my own experience. Filipinos tend to generalize that since we're foreigners, we're rich and that we're made out of money. So when we talk about our lifestyles, let's say that some of us live in Bonifacio Global City, some Filipinos are going to act up with crab mentality. For those who don't know what crab mentality is, it's essentially a pattern of thinking where people are often envious of another person's success. Filipinos in this case tend to get shy and uncomfortable when we talk about our achievements. I'm not saying that all Filipinos are like this, but it's most likely that you're going to meet with some who are like that. Just be mindful that when it comes into finances and personal success, that's a touchy topic within this country. It can stir up a lot of envy and jealousy behind the smiles. So I, Julio, have had a lot of experience with that, and I had to learn the hard way. Try to talking about your financial lifestyle and materialistic things. Let's say you have a high-end car. Try to avoid talking about those things unless you're sure that the group of people you're with will understand you. It's for the best. So that's it, Savvy Expats. Those were my 5 tips for living in the Philippines as an expat. And well, I hope you guys enjoyed and see you on the next one. God bless.